Hey Flosstube, it has been quite a while since I posted last. I think my last video was the second week of May, right in the middle of Stitch Mania. And yeah, it's been a while. So I had a lot to talk about. I'm not editing, I'm somewhat organized. Um, but I'm not doing any tags on this one. I'm eventually going to do Jessie Marie's behind the scenes tag, but I mean, I'm only on my 4th video right now, so I don't know, I might do it eventually, but not right now. I like her tag, but I just don't even know that I've been doing this long enough to do it. But when I get time, I will write down some of the other tags that I've been meaning to do and just haven't done. But I'm not gonna do them today because I have a lot to talk about. So last time I talked to you guys, we were in Stitch Mania, and to refresh your memory, I was doing a new project or whip every 3 days. So I think when I had recorded, I had worked on my mini solar system by Clouds Factory for my husband, and I had finished the 3 days on that, and I was going to start on my next project. I don't think I had known what I was going to do at the time, so I didn't tell you. But 2 days later, my good friend who I was doing the baby sampler for kind of ruined my Stitch Mania plans because she decided to have her baby 5 weeks early. So, and I don't like to do like new baby gifts and give them like months and months later. So I felt the need to really start working on that project. And so I pretty much ditched all the remainder of my Stitch Mania plans and was solely working on that. And I was making really good progress, working really hard on it for a few days, maybe about a week or two, with as much time as I had to stitch, because getting towards the end of the school year, we had functions for the kids, and getting prepared for summer, field trips. I mean, I didn't go on any field trips, but getting the kids prepared for field trips and dance recitals and little music recitals and plays and all that stuff just takes up a lot of time towards the end of the school year. And then once the kids are home full-time, it cuts into my stitching because I still work full-time, but they've been home or they've been with grandparents, and so because they're not really kept as busy during the school day, when you get home, they obviously want to spend time with you. And the weather's warmer, so that really, when the weather's nice outside, you don't really want to stay in and stitch, especially if you live in a northern state like I do, where you're not guaranteed a very long summer. You want to definitely take advantage of the time you do have. So anyway, so I worked on it a lot for the amount of time I had to stitch, for about a week, maybe a week and a half. And then, like happens when I'm forced to do something instead of just doing it because I want to do it, my stitchy bug like flies away as fast as it can go. I've had my stitchy bug leave in the past for years at a time, mostly when my kids were small. I mean, there were times I didn't stitch for several years, times I didn't stitch for several months. Since I discovered Flosstube, I really haven't lost my stitchy bug for any significant length of time. You know, maybe a few days, a week and a half. But this was the longest time that I had lost my stitchy bug, and I know it was simply because I had to work on this project. And and a lot of you I've heard say the same thing whenever you have to do something, all of a sudden you don't want to do it. And I think another thing that contributed to my stitchy bug being lost is I actually I didn't stop watching Flosstube, but I was watching a lot less Flosstube, and I was watching more Netflix because for some reason I decided that I never finished watching the last season and a half of Glee. And so I decided, oh, I want to watch that, but because it had been so long since I watched Glee, I felt the need to start all over again. So I was binge watching season 1. I think I might have gotten like 2/3 through season 2 as well, of Glee. And so because I wasn't like watching people stitch and getting ideas and, you know, getting that, you know, the energy you get when you're watching people do projects and stitch and get stuff like that done. So because I wasn't watching that, I just wasn't stitching. So my stitchy bug was gone probably for a good month. I'd pick it up, maybe do like 50 stitches, and then be like, oh, I can't do it. So then I finally, but I was still buying stuff, which is probably not what you should do when your like projects aren't being done and packages are arriving and your husband's like, hey, are you gonna stitch any of this stuff? Maybe you want to stitch some of this stuff. So I will show some haul as well, but I started watching more YouTube or more Flosstube, and then the stitchy bug came back. What I ended up having to do is just put it away. I just had to put it away and find another project that was quick, that I could just stop and do another project and get excited about stitching again. And I actually found a free pattern, and I'll show you. I mean, I'm going to show you all my projects, so of course I'm going to show you that one. So I did that. I completed that that project in like, I don't know, less than a week. And then the stitchy bug came back, and I started working on the baby gift, and I'll show you that. And then I also recently did a project at the request of my daughter for her friend's birthday. So how about I stop talking about showing you stuff and I just show you stuff? How about I do that? Because you're probably getting bored. And we're like 8.5 minutes in. So I'll show you first the project that I did, my last official Stitch Mania project that I'd started on the day that I did the last video. I originally was making this for my friend that I ended up doing the baby announcement for. I bought this pattern to do for her long before she got pregnant, because she has dogs and we used to dog sit for her, and they're dog people, so I had bought this Lizzie Kate's Dog Lessons for People. And I bought this from 123 Stitch, and so I just bought the whole kit and caboodle, everything that went with it. It was just easier that way. So I did that, and I didn't buy the recommended 32 count linen because I don't really like stitching on linen. I like stitching on even weave, but let's just say not the linen that I have stitched on. So I bought 28 count Lugana in earthen, which, I mean, comparing it to the picture kind of looks similar. So I think I only worked like 2 days on this before I put it away, but I started in the middle, and I think it's cute. I like the little doggy, so I put that away. I still have the needle hanging off it, which this is funny because I have needle minders. Here, look, I have a needle minder on here, but there's no needle on it because the needle is hanging off my fabric. But I also have needle minders to show you because, I don't know, don't you want to look at needle minders? So this one is from, sorry, this one is from Big Bang Theory, yes. As you would probably be able to figure out if you've seen any Big Bang Theory just by looking at it, it says, that's where I sit. So everybody knows where Sheldon sits. So I like that. My husband is a huge Big Bang fan, as I think I mentioned in my getting to know your needleworker tag. So by default, that means I'm a Big Bang Theory fan. So I'm not sure when I'll take this back out. I don't know. This would be like a good take with me project because it's got, oh yeah, easy. What's that? I have something in here. Oh, a geocaching coin. So for those of you who haven't looked up geocaching or gone geocaching yet, look it up, do it, it's fun. And some geocaches have little trinkets, and the idea is you take a trinket and leave a trinket. And some people some people are really into it, make their own. Like this looks like somebody like had it made, like it has their, I don't know if it's their geocache name. I don't know why it's in here. Yeah, it's in here. Okay. More rambling. It's really hot here. That's why I'm glistening. I have the fan on. I realize it's hot all over the country, so I'm not telling you anything new. But I will tell you the biggest difference between Florida heat and Maine heat is in Florida we had central air, and right now I have a window fan. So, oh, I kept this out. This was the one I showed you last time, the mini solar system that I was working on for my husband. I didn't do any more on it. The only reason I kept it out is because I realized that I never told you guys the fabric. So the fabric is kind of a bluey, it's got some green, got some sparkles, but it is from Picture This Plus, and it is the Crystal Haunted in 32 count Lugana. So, and maybe I did tell you guys, but for some reason I had it in my head that I didn't tell you guys, so I took it out. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to show you guys is the project that I did as to get a break from the baby sampler. And give me a second because I tried to like self-frame it. I'm not good at this. I'm just going to, I found a frame that will look good, that it will look good in, but I'm just not patient enough to frame. So I have the frame, I just have to find somebody to put it in. Isn't that sound like the ultimate laziness? But anyway, so like this is the frame, and it actually was a frame that held, well, I'll show you it was one of those that held like 2 pictures. I want to break the glass, hold on. Sorry. Okay. So it held 2 pictures, which is why it's long enough. And I don't remember where this was a free pattern from, but I think I found it like somebody had. I must have found it through like Stitch Mania or Cross Stitch Finish Line or something. So I know it's one that's easily found, and it was free. So, um, so I did this. So very simple, very easy, repeating design. So colors were bright, so it kept my attention. And didn't take long to stitch, so I really like that. I actually made that for another friend of mine. I'm not gonna like give names or details. I honestly don't think any of my friends or family watch my videos. Boo-hoo, poor me. But I don't want to give out details of people, just in case, I don't know, because I don't have permission. So, but anyway, I work with somebody who I actually have known since I started working with her that she was lesbian. But I didn't realize really for a long time that she was transgender. So I made her that. But yeah, it was a very nice person, very nice woman. So I made her that, and she knows I made it. I took a picture. She knows I'm giving it to her. Just have to get it framed because I'm not a good framer. So I'm saving this baby announcement for last. But a couple weeks ago, my oldest daughter Hannah asked me to make just a little gift for a friend of hers for her birthday. I had done it in the past. One of her other friends, when we were in Florida, for her birthday, I did the Clouds Factory Lord of the Rings characters, and we framed that for her. So she wanted me to do something either supernatural or Doctor Who or something like that. She was picking out these really like big patterns, and I'm like, Hannah, I've got like 2 weeks to get this done. Like, she wanted the that big like sampler one that says don't blink, don't even blink. Yeah, I was like, I can't get that done in 2 weeks. I like can't even buy the material or like all the stuff I need in 2 weeks. So I told her to pick out something small. I don't even know where she got this pattern. It's off Etsy, and it's one of the little caricature things. But anyway, so she picked a character from Supernatural. I don't watch Supernatural. I don't know what the character's name is, but apparently this is a little guy from Supernatural and like some quote from him. So I thought it was kind of a funny quote, and it was a simple one to do. And if you watch Supernatural, you'll know who this is, but it's a guy from Supernatural, and it says, "Driver picks the music, shotgun shuts his cake hole," which I think is funny. So, and this material was one I had bought from one of those tubes at Michael's. It's like a tea-dyed Monaco, I think. I purchased it for the Pretty Little New York that I'll do eventually, but I just cut a piece off to do this because I had most of the colors. I think there was only like one color I needed to get, which was this stupid little freaking gold thing on his chest. And had I realized that I was going to this all the way to the store for that, I would have just found a different gold, but I didn't. Okay. So the only other project I have, and I don't have it here because it's my current work project, is it's, sorry, my leg's cramping. It's one of those little Mill Hill bead kits, and it looks like a little baby tennis shoe. I'm making it for a baby gift for somebody at work because I am not doing one of these big in-depth things for a long time. So now what you've all been waiting for is what I have done on this baby announcement. I gotta turn around, I'm sorry. I'm on my bed. And as you can tell, it's quiet because none of my kids are here. This is just like a interruption in your regularly scheduled programming, but my mother still lives in Florida. And so back when we lived in Florida, we would send the older kids up here for a week or two, and then we would come up and spend 2 weeks here, and then we would fly, or we would go back down, usually drive back down, and then the kids would stay an additional week and fly back down. So now that we're up here, we send the kids down there, not for quite as long, especially with having the baby. I could not be without the baby for like 2 weeks. Wow. I'm without her for a week, so still quite a long time. But so I flew down with the kids to Florida on Wednesday, so a week ago today, and I stayed till Sunday, and then I flew back up, and the kids will be coming up at the end of the week. And yeah, so until then it's quiet. My husband is out in the garden. The cat is sleeping on the floor. The dog is probably chasing chickens. So I'm like, I'm just gonna make a video. So that's why it's quiet, and that's why I'm able to do a video. So I think I've shown you this page several times. The only thing I've done since I showed you, on this page is this, there's some back stitching on here that I've done, and I just have to finish back stitching. I ended up going out and getting the number 4 Krennic that was the same color as the number 8 Krennic that no matter what needle I tried, I could not get it to thread the needle. So I just broke down and bought number 4 Krennic. I'm probably going to work on this tonight. I need to work on this tonight. So anyway, but now this does have her name on it and her birth date, but it's only her first and middle name. And you probably don't know her, and it doesn't have birth weight or last name or anything like that. So I don't really think it should be an issue showing it, because it's a first name, a middle name, and a date of birth. So for all you know, there could be like a million baby girls named Scarlett that were born on this day. But anyway, so it's Scarlett Ashley. And I have to tell you the funny thing about this date. Okay, so you have to chart out the name and the birth date. Obviously, they don't know what the baby's name's going to be, so you have to chart it out. So when I charted it out, I reversed the 4 and the 5. So I wrote on a paper 4, 15, 16. And I was like, oh crap. Well, I don't want to rewrite it. So I will just put an arrow on there and remind myself that I need to stitch the 4 first. Or I even said it wrong. That I needed to stitch the 5 first. Do you think I remembered? No. I stitched the 4, and I think the little dot next to it. Sorry. The little dot next to it. I was like, crap. So then I had to frog it out, and then I stitched the 5. And then so then I get to the 1, and I accidentally skip the 1 and start stitching the 4. And I was like, crap. So then I had to take that out, and then I stitched the 1, and then I started to stitch the 5 again. I literally screwed up on every, out of the 5 numbers that are there, I screwed up on 4 of them and had to frog them. I was pissed. But anyway, So it finally got done. So that's done. Everything on this page is done and just needs to be cut out. I did do like a little color error on these flowers, but I'm not redoing them. I'm not redoing another dang thing on this. And I know when you listen to me talk, you're probably thinking, oh, I wouldn't want to do any of these because obviously she's complaining and whining about it. It must be really hard. They're not. They're not. They're not. It's just like I said, you know, when you have to do something, I don't want to do it. And these little things, very pleasant to do. My only issue I was having is this is so big. And that's the only issue I have with perforated paper, is that when you're stitching a design that's so big, you know, I mean, when you're using fabric and stuff, and especially, I guess, because I so far haven't stitched on anything that I couldn't wash if I wanted to, you know, when your hands get sweaty or something like that, it's not as big of a deal. This stuff starts to like get really, you know, if your hands sweat, it just starts to get really flimsy, and like, I don't remember where in here, like right here, it's torn, and you can't wash this after you're done. I mean, this is paper. So it's just like I constantly felt like I had to wash my hands and try to keep it nice. And so I like perforated paper. I do. The only thing I don't like about perforated paper is you have to use 3 strands, and I'm a loop starter. So I like 2 strands. I don't mind 1. Like if you're using really small count fabric, I don't mind 1. But 3, you know, I'd prefer 2. But really with these perforated paper, you really should use 3. And just stitching the big designs on perforated paper can just be a pain, because like I said, your hands get sweaty and the paper just feels like it's kind of breaking down, and like I like working my butt off on this. I want it to last. I don't want to like ruin it halfway through the project. So I really don't have that much to do. I've already picked a frame for it. Let me actually, hold on one second. I'm going to go grab said frame and I'll be right back, okay? Sorry about that. I have to come at you kind of slowly because I'm not wearing any pants and I don't want to like flash anybody because that's creepy. So it's actually a shadow box, but because it's 3-dimensional, you know, it'll have some depth on the shadow box. The only thing is I couldn't find something to be the background. Like I was thinking I wanted to use a sheet of, yeah, like just scrapbook paper. The problem is the biggest diameter scrapbook paper is 12 inches by 12 inches. And this is 6 inches by 14 inches. And you pretty much see all the way to the edge. So my worry is that if I try to like cut scrapbook paper, that you're going to see the seam, which maybe, you know, I may just do it anyway, because I may just get to the point where I'm like, forget it, it's just going. Like, I don't know that she'll look at it and be like, oh my god, there's a seam in there. My other idea is to get a piece of fabric and put the fabric down, like a pale green fabric or something like that. So I haven't decided. It really depends on how I feel when I get to that point. But anyway, I don't want you guys to think I didn't like the project. I do. I love Brooks Books designs. I really do. I just want it to be done. I'm getting whiny. I'm at that whiny stage. I'm sure all of you have had to have a whiny stage at one project or another. You have to. If you've never been whiny over a project, then you haven't done enough projects. I mean, I spent 11 years off and on doing my dad's tree skirt. There were multiple times I got whiny on that. Okay. So that's everything I've worked on that I can show you. My Stitchy Bug is coming back, and I'm hoping to be more productive. So I'm gonna show you some of the needle minders. Not 3 of them are new haul. All the others I had before, and these aren't all my needle minders, but these are like ones that are easily accessible. And I like needle minders. I don't use them as much as I should, but I like them and I like to have them. So here's another Big Bang Theory one. I have a little Grinch one. Oh, and hold on. These are from Minding My Minders. So I have a Grinch one, so that will go on whatever my Christmas project of choice is. And then I really like this one. It says, all we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. You can't read that, but trust me, it says, all we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us.